What's up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. And we've got a couple of great guests, repeat guests, actually. We have Amy Broghamer's back on the show today. We're going to talk about how to take listings that actually sell. We're also going to delve a little bit into working with buyers and just raising your standards across the board in terms of who you work with. And clearly we have not raised our standards because Gene Volpe is also joining us. The evil bald ninja is here. We have not raised our guest standards, so it allows Gene to fit right under that what is that? Not a hula hoop, but a what's the
limbo
bar.
Right?
Yes, we have set that limbo bar nice and low, Gene, and you have hopped right over that, and you're on the show with us too. So
listen, it's great seeing you too, Matt Johnson. Jesus, welcome back, Volpe.
Oh, man.
Brutal, dude. Like bare knuckle street fighting. Rough.
All right, my co-partner, co-host, and co-partner in all things crime related, mostly real estate, but some also, bank thievery and Bitcoin scams and whatever. Anyway, Greg McDaniel, what's up today?
I actually was just watching a documentary about Bitcoin. I still don't understand that. I still don't get it. I mean, I have a buddy that's Carlos. He's beating me over the forehead with buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. I'm like, I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. But what I do get is Amy and Gene are here, and this is going to be a hell of a show, and I'm pumped to have them. Amy, I actually got to meet Amy face-to-face. We had a lunch together back when she was in San Francisco, and all of us at the table were getting drinks before lunch. It was fantastic. It's the way I do lunch usually. It's like, ooh, a sandwich or a beer? Sandwich or beer? Can I get 2 beers? But all jokes aside, we had a great time meeting her in person in San Francisco. I haven't yet to meet the evil, bald ninja. We got to do that one of these days, but I'm glad you guys are here. Thanks for coming on a Friday show.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. Now Matt's going to be muted. I don't know why.
No, well, I'm keeping my background noise down. But Amy, give for the people that may have not caught one of your previous appearances, because we've actually had you on the show twice. So if they didn't catch one of those, give them just a kind of a 60-second bio on who you are, where you are, what you do.
Well, thanks for having me on the show for lucky number 3. I'm Amy Broghamer, a realtor for 13 years in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I've just closed out my year at the end of November. We met our goals at the end of November, so we're kind of sailing for December right now. Really happy. Sold 12 million, and just launched my Sell 100% of Your Listings course last year. Just got done with the first round of the buyer's course called the Ultimate Buyer Loyalty Process, and looking forward to spending the holidays doing as little as possible.
I was going to say, you've done a lot, so you need a couple of weeks off, it sounds like.
Yeah, that's the reward for working hard for 11 months, right? So
it is.
Right.
It is, and I always tell myself that, since our clients aren't really minded for real estate, I don't want to be minded for real estate, but then, everything that I teach goes back into my head, and I think about the fact that, well, if I'm not working now, 3 months from now, where's my business going to be? And then I get my ass back on the phones and so on and so forth. But yes, time off is a needed thing. It really is, or you will lose your mind in this business. So I hope you have a lot of sleepy days and just doing what you love to do.
No, it's not. It's still 40 hours a week, but it's just on things that I want to do versus, on the other stuff. But we just...
What you have to do.
Yeah, we have our annual Photos with Santa party the first Saturday in December every year, and that pretty much sets us up. But we do about 40% of our business in January, February.
Wow, 40% in January and February. That's impressive. A lot of agents still haven't gotten the idea that they're in a new year and that they need to start working in January and February.
Yeah,
what accounts for that? How do you do that?
Well, again, I really can't tell you, but it happens every year. And I think part of it is, being top of mind in December, where they're getting their Santa photos taken, or they're seeing an invitation and they're coming out and they're getting their pictures, and then they're spending time with family and they're spending a lot of extra time in their house, and they're thinking, man, this is too small, or I just went to so-and-so's house and it's so nice, we need to move, and they just saw me, or they're just seeing that those pictures flip through on their Facebook and my logo's on it, and they're, it's just top of mind right now. So maybe that's it. It's worked for us every year. We've done it for 9 years, and it sets us up really well in the beginning of the year. I don't know if that's it or not, but that's what I'm going to say.
Well, you know what? It doesn't matter what you call it. It works. And that's the only thing that matters at the end of the day, don't you think?
Yeah.
Right. Unlike Greg's shirt, which apparently has declared his intention to not work today.
Yeah.
Nope, not today.
That's right. If anybody's listening, go back and watch the video of this and you'll see what I mean. But there was a question that caught my eye, and the question, I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's a little long. It's from Chase Whippert. This is on the Lead Gen Description Objections Facebook group. But basically the gist of it is it worth it to pay out of your own pocket for a home warranty on a home when you list the property, especially an expired listing? So I'm curious, Amy, from your perspective, do you use home warranties like in the process of listing a home? Do you find them valuable? And if so, are you willing to actually pay out of pocket to get that done?
Will I invest in the warranty for the seller?
Yep.
No.
Do you find
No.
does it give you an advantage in the marketing to buyers for it to already be warrantied out?
No, because I always include a warranty, and I encourage my clients to include a warranty. If they don't want to, then we wait and see what the offer requests. But, I tell them that 99% of people are going to want the warranty, so you might as well put it in there, or else they're going to ask for it in the negotiations. Now, if I'm representing the buyer and we're unable to negotiate them a warranty, we will buy it. Our team will buy it for them, a buyer.
Right. So yeah, exactly. So you're not looking at it as a marketing ploy. It's just if you're serving the buyer client, you're helping them do what's in their best interest to get into the new home. Yeah, that makes sense. Yep. Greg, how about you? Have you ever used home warranties on your side, as far as especially to like make the home more attractive when you first put it up on the market?
We do a seller coverage home warranty. It's like literally a couple of cents a day if we use it. If not, there is no cost for it, but it's that extra layer of protection. We go through Chicago Title here in California to do that. So it's never really something that's been brought up that we do. But like if the sellers tell us like, well, the AC is a little bit older, we're like, we're going to put the coverage on it, because it's Murphy's Law. Shit's going to break right when we go on the market. It's going to be like an inferno in the property. That actually did happen to us 2 summers ago. I was at a property holding an open house, and they did not just tell us that the AC was a little bit older. They told us after the fact, and I held an open house in 110 degrees, and it was hotter in the house than it was outside the house. So I just stood and just sweat from every part of my body in the shade, just stood there, didn't move. I'm like, you can look at the house, just bring me water back out. But that's a case that
I'm sure I can testify to that, because Greg is one of those guys that will be sitting in a Starbucks, which is kept at a crisp 69.5 degrees or whatever, and he'll all of a sudden look around and say, "Is it hot? Is it like, are you hot in here?" I'm like, no. What is the matter with you? Why are you hot all the time?
It's all that brain activity.
Exactly. A lot of brain activity. I like that, Gene. But there's a fan sitting right here next to me. This thing runs 24/7. If this thing wasn't on, I would sit here and just melt. Matt has been in my office. He knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know the office is not that warm either. All right, so before we get into the raising your standards and get in some of the seller and buyer stuff with Amy, Gene, I want to turn to you. And you always bring in extremely valuable like a tech or social media tip. So what have you got for us this week?
Today is Facebook Creator. So
so I've seen this come through. This came through a couple of weeks ago, and it's the new version of Facebook Mentions. So I'm curious to see what you think about it and whether it's worthwhile.
Well, so here's the thing. It's new enough where I don't have a solid opinion. What I do know is it lets you do some pretty cool editing things on the fly when you're doing your Facebook Live. So it's certainly worth. I may even mess with it while we're here today. See if I can get some Christmas lights on my head or something.
Oh, okay.
Right? No. Like, see if we can put a Santa Claus hat on me live video or something along those lines. But if what I want to tell everybody is if I would invite them to go to facebook.com/creators with an S. And it looks like this is where you're going to really learn all the details. Now, I can tell you can do it from your desktop. You can do it from your iPhone. It is not available for Android yet.
Of course. Yeah, and
So,
from what I understand, it gives you...
Boo is right.
Yeah.
I'm with Amy, Boo.
From what I understand, it gives you the ability also to manage your incoming messages, or maybe even see your comments from both Facebook and Instagram in one place.
Well, that's interesting because so here's the thing. I think that's already inherent on my business page. That may be that happened to me already. I don't know if that happened when creators came out, but you can actually select something in your Facebook where I do have that now. I have that view where you can switch through your inboxes. But I never put that together with Creator. Maybe it did come with that because with the Facebook mentions, that makes a little bit of sense. I didn't put those two together, but you could be right.
I think so.
So how do you use Creator? Where is it?
Well, I'm assuming you have an Android, right, based off of your response.
Yeah, but I also have a computer.
Yeah, no, I know. So you'd have to go to your computer, right? And then on your business page, you go to Publishing Tools.
Okay, so only on the business pages?
Yeah, I believe so. I haven't seen it on personal yet.
Okay.
Because it's all for people to grow their audience on using video. So yeah, that makes sense that it's tied to a page. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. So it's so there's still, I think Facebook, even as they massively devalue the value of having a Facebook page, then they try to reel you back in and go, no, wait, it's still valuable. Please use our Facebook pages, please, pretty please.
Yeah, and you know what? To piggyback on that, if you want me to jump on the video stuff, I
absolutely do.
Well, you know how the video thing is a big deal, right? So you uploading an MP4 to your profile gets you more organic reach by default than if you just upload a picture. Yeah, we all agree that. What they're starting to do is they're starting to police people that are hitting that loophole. Have you seen these little memes that are actually move? Right? You've seen these?
And they have like smoke across them or whatever. You can see. Yeah.
Yeah. So people are doing that, and some people are doing it unwittingly, but some people are doing it to get that organic reach through the loophole, because when Facebook sees that MP4 uploaded, even though it's just a photo with stuff in front of it, you get that organic reach. You get more reach through a video than you do with a static post. So Facebook's actually taking a look at stuff like that now, and they may penalize you for not creating what's an actual video, and pre-recorded content that you throw up as live is going to get penalized as well.
Yeah,
right.
which makes total sense. Yeah, because I've never jumped on the bandwagon of like recording a Facebook Live and then broadcasting it later and trying to pass it off as actually live.
Right.
Because it's one of those things where it may work, but it's not. Number one, it takes away the actual real live interaction, which I think people can eventually catch up to. They'll figure that out. But yeah, it's interesting that then Facebook is going to penalize that or not boost it as much, because it just doesn't make as much sense as an actual, true, authentic Facebook Live.
Right.
But Facebook wants you to natively put your content in Facebook, so they'll give you more credit for that, and they'll boost you better for that.
100%.
And instead of, like, you really should never try to upload an MP4 because that's not going to give you much bang for your buck, right?
Well, you're talking against, like I say, a Facebook Live?
Like just for video purpose. So many people are afraid to use Facebook Live, and they record videos and then they add them on. Why do they do that?
Yeah, so Facebook Live is always going to give you the most organic reach. That's where they're throwing their A&R dollars. And then just below that is going to be video that you've pre-recorded and edited and then actually uploaded to the Facebook page. I mean, video, and they don't want you leaving. So what I tell people all the time is, because people say, well, I do a video, but I put it on YouTube and then I share the link. Well, Facebook sees that, and they're seeing that you're pushing people over to Google's product. So you're going to get less love for that than you will for an MP4 loaded there, and even less love than you would for an actual live, broadcast.
So what if you take a live broadcast, you download your live from Facebook, and then you load it into YouTube? Is there any negative consequences with YouTube?
Not that I'm aware of. I think they just want you to create content. Have you seen some of the stuff on YouTube? I can't imagine you doing that would be any worse. No, I not that I'm aware of. I can't imagine. I think they just want you to, put good content.
The only thing
there.
you wouldn't get is it's the same effect as Facebook. You probably just wouldn't get as positive an effect as if you streamed live to YouTube, right? So Greg, you've started streaming your prospecting both to Facebook and YouTube simultaneously, right? So you're actually getting the best bang for the buck is to actually have two devices and have them both streaming, one to Facebook, one to YouTube.
Yeah, doing that with my phone here. That goes to YouTube because YouTube won't allow me to stream live from my desktop. And then what I found is my audio is shit off my mic, off my microphone on my camera. So I'm going to plug this thing in and run off of this mic for Facebook to do my calls. So I haven't tried that yet, but my theory, I think, is sound. I just need to put it into play.
Gotcha.
Audio is the key thing for when you do all of these. And then when I start broadcasting from my house on a continual basis, my mics, my phone stand that I have over here that I've showed you guys a couple of times, I have two of them. I have one at my house So my batshit crazy ass is I'm going to have one iPhone going to Facebook or probably YouTube. The mic here or the camera here is going to be going to YouTube, and then I'm going to have my iPad streaming to like Insta. So I'll be triple streaming all right at the same time.
Triple stream.
Wrong. Just wrong. You're gonna break the internet at your condo complex. Actually, your saving grace may be the fact that you live in like a retirement community, and maybe they're not nobody else is doing anything.
That's so true, dude. I all the stories of all the old people that I live around. I mean, my first day of moving into my condo 3 years ago, I had remodeled it for about 4 months before I moved in because more spiders and creepy crawlies lived in the place before I moved in. And my neighbors are used to having nobody around. And so my first night there, I just had like a portion of my couch. My TV was mounted. I had a beer and a sandwich. Well, that was the only thing in the house. And I got to see my naked old Persian neighbors in their full glory when they showed up to their front of their window because they weren't used to seeing me there. They're like, ta-da! I'm like, oh my God, I'm never going to see you the same way ever. My eyes are burning.
Oh my God! All right, we have to take a massive right turn with this conversation. Let's get back to you, Amy. So there's a great question that will lead us down a much more desirable conversational path right now. This is from Michael Schumpert, same group, Lead Gen Scripts and Objections group, says, after you get a new listing or you close a sale, what methods do you use to find your next listing? Do you do like circle prospecting, postcards, et cetera, et cetera? So essentially he's asking like, how do you leverage one listing into the next listing, like using that as a springboard? So, Amy, what techniques do you do on the back end of a sale to kind of take more listings in that same geographic area?
I think that you're going to have a better chance of getting buyer leads off of a listing than listing leads in general. However, you can do the door knocking around the listing for an open house or information on the property to see if they know anyone moving, for sure. And then send a sold postcard through, your mail house that way. What I like to do is just be able to promote my listing that sold on social media and talk about how we were in multiple offers or we went over asking, because I can target that to specific people, income level, price point, location that I want to see that I'm succeeding in selling listings. So much better than just mail.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, I mean, you're right about that, Amy, in the sense that yes, it is definitely easier to get buyer leads out of a listing. Absolutely. I think in terms of like finding the next listing, door knocking and circle prospecting around it, and then Greg, you would add in things like direct mail postcards that are the call to action is, hey, like we just sold this house around the corner, find out what your home value is, right?
Yeah, you can definitely do something along those lines. You want to tout your wins like that. Another thing that you guys can do if you're looking for if you're looking for another listing appointment, you could do something. You could do interviews. You could do like a buyer and neighbors only open house prior to. You could be proactively asking, hey guys, we got 103% of the listing price for this home. Would you sell your home for that price as well? If we could get 103% for your property as well, you could do that as well. I think a lot of the times though, what we need to be aware of is the fact that agents are misled by what the majority says and say, hey, look, you have to get listings, or it doesn't really count as a lead. When a buyer pays just as much in most parts of the country than a seller does, and the seller is way more expensive to run than a buyer. So I don't think that you should be so hung up about the ego issue of having my next listing. Look, dude, fuck off. A check is what you want. A listing isn't what you really want. You want a payday. And so, I mean, I've run with buyers the majority of my career. I like buyers way more than sellers. Sellers are needy, they're whiny, they're entitled, they're basically a giant pain in the ass, and my buyers, dude, they're cool as shit. I mean, I go out with them, I wear my jeans, my flip-flops. I mean, one of my buyers, I told him I was coming in a little casual one day, and I was wearing just like a nice pair of jeans and like a polo shirt. He's like, dude, where are the flip-flops and the board shorts, man? And I'm like, I love my clients so much right now. But keep in mind, guys, it doesn't matter what type of client it is as long as it's a payday coming down the pipe. don't worry about if it's a buyer or seller. You can turn the buyers. I mean, Amy and I can sit here all day long and tell you guys how you can turn a buyer into a seller down the road, but don't be concerned about it now. Amy, wouldn't you agree with me on that one?
I would not agree with you on that. I like buyers. I prefer listings, but yeah, it doesn't matter. No matter what you do, get a lead off a listing, whether it's a buyer lead or a listing lead. And you're right, listing leads cost more money to get sold than buyers do.
Mm-hmm.
But
listings,
Amy, like in your market, just like in my old market, I'm assuming like the splits are different. Like in Greg's area, it's 3 and 3. It's across the board. But
yeah,
is it the same there? Yeah. See, like in Omaha, it's typically 2.4 or 2.8 to the buyer, and then the remainder goes to the seller. And we can still take listings at 6 and 7%, right? So I think almost all of Jeff Cohn's listings in Omaha are taken at 7. So they're clearing, 3.2, 3.6 sometimes percent, which, so it is a major difference in that area.
And I've started to do 7% too, and you're right, you can get paid a little bit more on the listing side.
Yeah. So yeah, it kind of depends on the market, but Greg, I see your point, and you're way more comfortable with that. But let's get into kind of the raising your standards issue, because Amy, this is something that I wanted to talk about with you, especially on the buyer side, because you mentioned like what's the difference between working with them, and a lot of agents would probably identify you, and that they feel probably carried around by the nose by their buyers, which is their own fault, by the way, and that's what I want to talk about. So when you talk about raising your standards, and we'll get to the listing part in a second, but when it comes to buyers, how do you raise your standards to make sure that you're working with the right people and that they have the right kind of working arrangement with you so you don't have that happen?
Yeah, it really starts from the beginning with sitting down with them at a consultation and explaining the way that you work, and that, you have certain standards for your business that all of your clients are following. And so they know that you're not just working with some dude that you don't even know if they're approved yet, but you're taking time away from them who are super motivated and ready to buy, because you're working with somebody that isn't quite ready. So really, we have standards on our team. And what's interesting is my buyer's agent, Jenny, came onto my team 3 years ago. And since she's been forced to follow my standards, she, the first year, doubled her income, and then the third year tripled her income with me. And all it was requiring first, when the lead came in, to get them pre-approved with our trusted lender. And that was the first step. And then once they did that, they would sit down and do a buyer consultation face-to-face, where we would take them through what the process looks like and go over their financing options that were found or discovered during their pre-approval. And then we would explain to them what it means to hire a buyer's agent to work with them. And those 3 things are the 3 things that we require in order to spend time, effort, money, and put them in our car to go buy a house. And what we found was that when they do those 3 things, it shows that they're motivated and that they're serious. And we close, when she does those 3 things with our buyers, we close 97% of those people.
Wow, 97%. That's impressive.
Well, let's think about it. They're getting pre-approved so they can buy. They understand what the process looks like to buy, and they're committing themselves to our team. So when they commit to us, then we go out and we find them property, or we make them our VIP, so that they're top of mind, and we're, getting them in the car first, or we're looking for properties for them first, and they're able to make a purchase. But how many people does the average agent take out, and they don't even know what their price range is, really?
Yeah, that's the biggest problem. Like, getting them pre-approved, like you were talking about, is an absolute must, because even if you show them, property that's $10,000 above their comfort level or their affordability level, there's no way that is the bar now that they're going to be set at, and everything's going to be a disappointment from that moment forward. They're going to hate the process, they're going to hate you, they're going to hate the market, and they're going to be ultimately dissatisfied with the entire thing. If you just set the parameters up front, they would have understood, the process and what to expect. So I totally see what you're doing. And it is funny how people, they're like puppies. They're running down the hardwood floor. Their feet are moving 1,000 miles an hour, and they're stepping on their ears and landing on their face because they don't know what they don't know. And it starts with just understanding, hey, this is how we're going to go buy a house for you. These are the steps. Now let's go hit the market. Let's go hit the road and take a look at the houses.
Right. And they're hiring a realtor to guide them to success. And right now, there's so many multiple offer situations happening, and people are losing out left and right. They've got to follow the lead of the agent that they're hiring and trust that they know what they're doing. And when they do that, the agent will lead them to success. I see way too many times, agents saying, I don't know, what do you want to do next? When do you want to go see a house? What areas do you want to see? And not saying this is what needs to happen now, this is what needs to happen next, and just taking leadership of the situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, if you've gone to the dentist or to anyone else and they're like, well, we could go a couple of different ways here. Not quite sure what we want to do with that cavity there, and what do you want to do from here? They're like, look, dude, you got a cavity. These are the steps. If you don't take care of it, these are the ramifications. And they're gonna lead you down that path of getting better health. We need to lead our clients down the path of buying and selling real estate because we know what we're doing. Well, for the most part, some of us think we know what we're doing, but most of us do know what we're doing, and that's what we do need to take control.
But that is a good point that you guys bring up, especially Amy on the leadership side. Because I think that is what it comes down to a lot of times, and that initial encounter or two with a buyer that sets the stage for the whole rest of the arrangement. Because they don't handle that very first interaction correctly, it sets the whole frame and the whole context wrong. And then they wonder why the rest of the interaction goes badly, or they wonder why they're being kept up with texts at 9 o'clock at night and all this stuff. I mean, there's a certain amount of that you're going to deal with, but how you deal with it kind of determines everything, and you can control that.
And it's the future pacing and the setting the expectations from the beginning, and that's why having a sit-down consultation is one of the 3 things that we absolutely require. If somebody is not willing to do that, then they're not really serious, or they're not going to work with us, period. So
yeah, and setting the expectations, knowing what's going to happen for who's on first, what's on second, and just getting that laid out, because you can run around with a seller or a buyer, either one of them, for days, weeks, months at times, and you're a dog chasing its own tail. You're never going to catch it because you don't know what you're going after. And I've found, and I mean, I'm pretty sure you do the same thing, but I'm completely blunt with my clients right up front. What are your expectations? What's most important? What's your timeline? What are your finances? Blunt. Not like pie in the sky, like, oh, God, I got a client. Let's go look at houses. I want to look at every house. Me too. Let's go. No, that's the worst idea on earth. But knowing, like, if I was going to take Matt and Julie and their 3 obese little wood-denting, insulin-sucking little babies out, big babies, giant babies, huge babies, gigantic, elephant-sized babies, that's why you can't come over to my house. I'll go right through my floor and down 3 stories into other condos. But if they were going to go show them properties, I can hear Gene laughing. But, if I didn't set that expectation up of what I wanted to see or what they wanted to see, I had a client, my first client. You guys will laugh at me. Guess how long my first client, my very first buyer, how long it took me to get them into a house? You guys are all laughing at me. Take a guess. Come on.
3 weeks.
a year?
15 months.
Well, Matt, you kind of know the answer to this.
Oh, do I?
Yeah, I told you this.
Was
Year
it
and
really?
a half.
No, I don't. I don't remember. Maybe in the back, dusty, cobwebby recesses of my mind, I had heard that story once before, but that's hilarious.
Yeah. I had 0 client control, like what Amy and I are talking about. 0. And it cost me a year and a half of my life. I finally got them into a house, and they actually sold something with me, too, so it kind of made sense, but I was getting paid 25 cents an hour at that point.
Yeah,
really
well,
matter.
I mean,
Exactly.
this is one of my favorite things. A mistake repeated is a decision. So
Yeah.
you learn from it, thank God, and you're still in the business. But the people that don't learn from that are not in the business anymore.
Yeah. Because it takes a lot out of you to have a client, use you and abuse you like that. And they do. They will do that to you. But anywho's,
Yeah,
moving
let's
on
talk
to
about the flip side
greener
of this, Amy, on the
pastures.
seller side. So when you take on a new seller client, how are you setting expectations with them on that side? Well, I guess let's back up maybe and talk about the standards. What are your standards for a seller client?
Well, I mean, I have some personal standards that, there is a
Oh, no
certain
Facebook
price.
creepiness.
Yeah.
Oh,
What's
we
funny
got to
is,
tell that story.
yeah,
Yeah, please,
the
Amy.
guy asked about it, and so I get this random Facebook message last night. This opens up such a can of worms, you guys. I don't even.
Do
We
it.
don't need to go too far down the rabbit hole. Just
Do
the story.
it.
I didn't
And
hear
Got
it.
a
Do
Facebook
it.
message last night or yesterday at 4. It said, "Hey, your name came up. What's it look like to sell my house with you?" And so I was like, "Hey, thanks for reaching out. How did you get my name?" And he said, "Google." And I said, "Well, thank you for reaching out. My business is operated by referral only, so I'm not going to be able to help you, but I can get you with one of the agents on my team." And he was like, "Well, I want to work with you because I think that the most attractive agents are always the most successful."
God, that's creepy.
Oh boy.
And it got a little creepier from there, and now he's blocked.
My toes just curled.
But once again, I'm sorry to, harp on a situation that really needs more voice to it, but there are agents that would absolutely go there after that, or would absolutely jump if some creep called them on the phone and wanted to see a $500,000 house because of desperation or lack of standards. I mean, that's just fucking stupid. It's stupid. You don't go to a house with someone you don't know that's vacant. That's not a good idea. You have to have standards. You have to say, well, we're going to meet at my office first. We're going to get you pre-approved. There's no reason for you to fall in love with a house that you can't afford. I mean, this is safety. I don't let my buyer's agent show houses to anyone that she hasn't met, and we get pre-approved. When you get somebody pre-approved, your lender has their social security number, their home address, all kinds of information that you would have access to if anything ever happened. I'm sorry, this is like a thing that just really pisses me off when there's so much danger in our business, and we just need to be smarter about it and have some standards, around it.
If someone, sounds like they want to wear your skin as a hat, probably not the best person to go show an open house to.
Yeah, but you can't discriminate. You have to treat everyone the same.
Here, Hannibal Lecter, let me show you this house. No
Hannibal,
problem.
let me have my lender call you and get you pre-approved before we go out to this basement with the hole in the ground.
Listen, I think you just made a good point. You can discriminate. You just got to be real savvy about it, right? So talk to me about some of the ways. I know there's a lot of women in the industry that get messages like that all the time because I handle a lot of their accounts, and I'm the one that usually does the responding to these guys that are coming from, like, hey, beautiful. You get that in your inbox all the time. Hey, beautiful, where are you? Like, hold on for a second. I'm her big bad boyfriend first. Let's talk about that. So, but
I have the best response ever.
Go.
Remember that picture that one of the fans sent in of you with like the Bin Laden beard with the you just send back and say, look, I'm the one that handles her social media, and send that picture of you.
Okay, I'll try it. I'll see what happens.
Please do it and send a videotape
yes,
every moment.
But Amy, I love your point because there really is no way to. Granted, it's funny to talk about the more extreme examples, but those are not the ones that are, like they might be creepy, but the odds of something happening are probably low. It's the ones that don't give you any creep factor that can be really dangerous. And so you're saying you have to have standards for everybody because it's not just better for safety, it's better for your business in general. So like your buyer's agents are making more money. It's having a tangible effect on their business because they're setting the same standards. Hey, like here is the system. You either fit into the system or you don't, period, which I love that.
Yes, and I mean, I'm really proud that she's been able to basically triple her income by putting the standards in place. And I forced those on her because, I'm the leader of the team. And so, as time went on, I thought I should teach other people this. And that's why I put together the buyer courses. It's not rocket science. You just have to have conviction to your standards and follow them.
Yeah, and a sense of abundance that, like, hey, if I turn this one person away, another one's coming right down the tracks.
And they're going to do everything I ask.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we vastly underestimate how much the average person wants to be led. They want to be led to the result that they want, you know?
Yep, they do.
All right, so back to the seller side a little bit. Standards for sellers. So give me a couple of examples for you.
Okay, so a couple of standards that I have. I require that they go through my process, which starts with a phone call where I gather information, and if the information that I gather isn't a fit for me, I will refer them to somebody else. So if their price is below $150,000, it's not going to be a fit for me. If it's in a certain part of town, it's not a fit for me. If they're upside down and it's a short sale, it's not a fit for me. I know what my fit is. I know what works and I know what doesn't. Then from there, you know, if all of those criteria are met and they're not able to meet with me at the times that I give them to meet with me, either on the phone or doing a pricing and strategy meeting, which is where we go out and we sit with all the decision makers at a table, you know, where they come to my office. If, you know, I work from 8 to 4 every day, Monday through Friday. I do not work on the weekends. I do not work on the evenings. If there's an offer that comes in, I will negotiate the offer on an evening or a weekend. And most of the time they come in on the evenings or weekends. So I just tell people that the evenings and weekends are for my family and for any offers that need to be negotiated. And if I get pushed and I get pushed, so first of all, what I do, and this is a trick for time saving or, you know, keeping your time to yourself, is I'll give them 2 or 3 times between 8 and 4 that I can meet. And if they say I can't meet at any of those times, my next go-to is let's do a Zoom call. I'll do a Zoom call in the evening or weekend from my home. I'll try to get it to be during the day so that we're not both having to drive 30 minutes and 30 minutes and then sitting together and talking. And generally a Zoom call ends up being, you know, less than an hour, and a face-to-face meeting ends up being an hour or maybe a little more. So we're still saving time that way. If they're unwilling to do that and they absolutely require that I come on an evening or a weekend, I'll just tell them that this isn't a fit for me. That's not how I operate, and that it's okay with me if they're not able to work within that schedule. And most agents freak out when I say that. But it's proven to me over and over that when I make that an exception, for whatever reason I choose to make an exception, I regret it. It's the asshole that had me out on a Saturday afternoon that ended up flaking, right? So it's always not good to go outside of the standard. So that's another standard that I have that keeps me really focused. And I tell my clients, I'm the most focused between 8 and 4. I've got all the information in front of me. I am completely dialed in. I don't have any kids around. That's the best time for us to do business and to make the largest financial decisions of your life, basically. So those are some of my standards in terms of sellers. And then, you know, once we get into the listing, if they're not, you know, willing to work with my price range that I'm recommending, it's a no-go. Sometimes if they're not going to do some of the staging, it's a no-go, you know, things like that. I mean, again, I'm finishing another year with all of my listings sold. I don't really like wasting time and money and effort and not getting paid.
You know, you bring up a good point there. And and this is not a sexist thing at all. This is a fact of life. You mean like the hot chick at the bar is doing everything they can to reject all the dudes that are hitting on her because she's trying to find ways to finding a flaw in them. We need to be the hot chick at the bar and find the flaws in the clients that are coming towards us, because you can't take them all. You got to only pick and work with a select few people. And right. I've done the exact same thing as you, Amy. I tell my clients, this is how I run my business. I don't work on the weekends unless it's an emergency. And if I do work on the weekends, dude, I tell them I'm showing up in my board shorts with my flip-flops, wearing my backwards baseball hat. I'm chilling. And they're all okay with it. And they call me on the weekends sometimes. Hey, hi, Greg. I know you don't work on the weekends, but... And I'm sitting there going, fuck. All right.
I hope they're inviting me for wine.
Yeah, there better be beer involved if I'm working on the weekend, jackass. But the clients get it. They don't freak out about it. They fully grasp it. This is my time for my family and for me to recover and recoup. You can fully grasp that, right? I mean, yeah, my family is my 2 furry idiots, but who cares, right? They're my fam. I mean, that's what qualifies. But the thing is, it's about protecting your time. If you guys want to work on the weekends, go for it. But maybe you take Tuesday and Wednesday off, right? Whatever your time
Tuesday
is.
and Wednesday then, yeah.
Exactly. Protect your time at all costs.
Can I ask you guys a question on that? I mean,
Sure.
the two of you are coming from a space of, you're coming from a place of abundance, right? So I think you have built up a good enough business where you're able to do that and still pay your bills, so from a new age, and I know there's a lot of people watching this because I remember the early days when I started my company, I worked from 8 o'clock in the morning until 2 o'clock in the morning every single day, Saturday and Sunday, and basically all day, Greg. You don't have to do the math, just all day, every day. And so I saw you, like there's smoke and stuff. So I just want to know from your perspective, I think it's important to note that there are some people that don't have the luxury of having a crushing business up front. And I would ask you both of you, when you're in that mode, how do you stave off those late calls or weekends, or didn't you back when you first started, or just some guidance to the agents that are mucking and grinding and really, really struggling to pay their bills today, and to the point until they get to your point, which is a little more comfortable, if I can say that, right?
Yeah, I'm going to let Amy take this first.
Well, I mean, first of all, it's still you're never going to get to a place where we are if you don't have the standards in place to make sure that the human being that you're working with has the ability to close and provide a check. So, if these new agents are working with 15 different buyers right now because they need to, and I love it, they better make sure that all 15 of those buyers are approved to buy a house so that they're not wasting their time, because you can spend 40 hours with a buyer that's not approved, and you've just lost 40 hours that you could be spending with someone that can buy a house. And if they're making those bad decisions, they're never going to stay in the business. The people that stay in the business long term have figured out how to make sure that they're getting paid and how to identify the type of people that are going to make it happen. But if you're distracting yourself with stuff that's never going to get you paid, or if you keep taking listings and spending all this time on these listings that are never going to sell, then you're never going to make a paycheck. Mm-hmm. So it's survival of the fittest. And I remember sitting in CRS classes the very beginning of my career, Gene, just like you said, and people saying, well, I turn this down and I turn this down and I don't do this. And I thought to myself in my head, oh my God, am I ever going to get there? I want to do that, but I don't even know if I'll ever have enough business to do that. Well, if you set your standards and you make sure that you're getting paid, then eventually you'll have more business than you can do. And then you'll have to start cutting it out like the girl at the bar.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. The thing is politics completely aside here. Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton. Hillary was the established, she was the mega agent in the farm area. Like, everybody knew her, everybody was rooting for her. Like, she's the one that got all the listings, right? She had all the power. Donald Trump was the underdog, the new agent, who came in and put his nose to the grindstone and just fucking hustled. Now, if you like him or you hate him, I don't really care. That's not the point here. It's about putting your nose to the grindstone and hustling. Now he's the president of the United States, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, whatever it is. But he got there for the hustle. So if you're a new agent and you think you're fighting uphill in a rainstorm with no shoes on a mudslide, well, it's going to be like that for a little while. It's going to be hard work. Dude, that man hustled his hiney off to get where he is today, and he put his own money into the game. So if you guys want to dominate your marketplace, you cannot be looking at Hillary Clinton, the top dog agent in the marketplace. You got to be looking at the next step that's going to be directly in front of the last step you put on the ground to get to that next listing, that next buyer, that next closing, that next something or other. And eventually, if you don't look up and compare yourself to the rest of anyone else who's doing business and just do what you need to do on a daily basis, then a weekly basis, then a monthly basis, you will have the ability to make a decision on what your schedule will be. But in the beginning, you will work 7 days a week, 20 hours a day if you want to get to the top seat. Don't ever fucking misunderstand what Amy and I are saying here. It's hustle, there's grind, but there is a payoff for it.
And that's how you learn from your mistakes, is you make them in the beginning so that you don't repeat them. And that's how you pay your dues, so that later you can say, hey, I've been there, I've done that, I'm not repeating that again.
I've worked with that buyer before, and I took that listing before. I'm not doing that again. Oh man,
Well, I've got a good question here for you, Amy. So Paul Franklin says, do you primarily have unaccompanied showings in your market, or do you have team members cover evening or weekend showings? So how do you guys structure that on your team?
Is that, you mean for buyers?
Yeah.
The buyer's agent handles all the showings for our buyers.
So are you reached a point where you're like using showing agents or maybe junior
Yes.
agents on the team?
So depending on the buyer's agent's schedule and what she's got going on, we have chosen to work with a couple of showing assistants. So they'll go out and show properties if we can't be there. And once again, setting standards in the beginning, we sit down with our buyers and we say that we cannot be two places at the same time. So there is a chance that we would need to send out another agent to get you into a property so that you don't miss an opportunity. And we set that up from the beginning.
Sure. And then on the seller side of that, I don't know how much of this you encounter. I think Greg probably encounters it more in the upper markets. The idea of you, the listing agent, having to be personally there for a showing. Does that come up much in your world, Amy?
No, we use electronic lock boxes, and I believe that people should have privacy when they go see a house.
Yeah.
Greg, I'll offer to be there, but they don't want me there.
No, I can see that. I've heard of that coming up, and Greg, I know it's come up for you before with like multi-million-dollar listings where they want you there. How do you handle that?
I mean, only when it comes to like the $5 million homes. I mean, when our $5 million homes are going to be shown, yes, we are there on site. I mean, it's a large amount of money involved. So they do ask us to be there.
Show them how to use some stuff in the house and.
Yeah, it's not just like a one light switch and turns all the lights on like in some homes. There's a lot of light switches, a lot of bells, a lot of whistles, a lot of doodads that need to be shown off. How do I turn the lights on the pool? How do I turn the spigot on, or that on, or this off, or that off, whatever it is. But 9 times out of 10, it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't need to be there for showings. And like Amy is saying, I think privacy for a buyer's agent and a buyer to walk through a property and have an open and candid conversation is something that's very, very, very important. But, you know, Amy, I don't know if this is coming up in your market, but I heard this story from our corporate attorney is that be careful, buyer agents and buyers, to have that real, honest conversation in the house because of all the cameras that are in properties these days. Because if you're sitting there talking shit about the flooring or the drapes or the carpet or the countertop, whatever else, and the sellers see that, ooh, it really taints your offer when you make one, which is kind of bullshit. I mean, first off, that shouldn't be.
They're the ones that decided to listen to it, you know.
Yeah. It's like listening to like your girlfriend's best friend about all the shit you didn't do right in the relationship after you break up. It's like, well, thanks, asshole. That could have been told to me before I got to the end of the relationship. You know, it's just like be careful of the candid conversations. That's all I'm saying.
Don't worry, Greg. That's what I exist for. Anytime you need to know what you're doing wrong, just let me know, and I will give you. I have a list prepared. I have a Hobbit pad full of things that I can share with you.
You have a running document in.
I have a running Word document.
You shared with me.
Yeah, don't worry. It's a Google Doc, so I can share it with you. Amy, let's get back to you, and I want tell everybody where they can connect with you, and then I think you've got like a free giveaway for everybody.
Yeah, you know, you can get me on Facebook anytime. Just don't be a creep about it, and I won't block you. So friend me on Facebook. I've got a business page, Amy B. Experience Success, Speaking and Coaching. There's information about the buyer and the seller course there. And if you'd like to get a free bonus, which I haven't technically decided what that would be yet.
I want a free bonus.
Yeah, well, I know your favorite, Greg, is the 75 ways to use video in your business. So I'll put that as the giveaway for this, and then anything else that I decide to add on, maybe like my buyer pre-qualification questions or something like that. And all they need to do is go to amyb.com /REUQ&A. Can I type that in somewhere or not?
Yeah, go ahead and type it in. I have my 75 things. Damn it, where are they? They're in one of my
comments
pads.
of the Facebook Live.
Oh, okay.
There they are. Yeah, guys, see, check it out. Amy thinks that you guys think I'm kidding around, dude. I got my 75 things. I've even doodled on them. I mean, that means they're special.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep them with me right here. They're really good ideas too. They're really good ideas.
Well, and if you need to think of something, that it'll be right there for you, ready to go.
Like I doodle on them when I'm talking to Matt. Take my mind off of things. Just gonna
Great,
film
thanks.
that. Just gonna film this.
You do
Are
it
you
while
not-
you're talking to me.
Streaming this in Lead Gen?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it on my.
Yeah, we are. We noticed it wasn't necessarily all shared into the same groups at the same time like normal, so we'll have to check that out. But yeah, you can always grab it from Greg's personal profile. And anyone that's
Greg's
watching,
page.
yeah, exactly. Anyone that's watching or listening, you can always follow the show either on our Facebook page. We also have the Real Estate Uncensored Facebook group that streams the show live, or just follow Greg's personal Facebook profile. Those are all great ways to get notified when we are live. Because there was a guy that was asking. Baman, I believe is his name, asking if he could watch it later while he was doing prospecting calls. And so these broadcasts do live on our Facebook page perpetually. You can go back and watch them, so you don't have to wait until they come out as podcast episodes. But if you do, which you should, they are on iTunes and Stitcher as audio episodes. So, Gene, to you, sir, my good sir, thank you for being a good sport, by the way, as I basically insulted you right off the bat in the call today, which I had great fun doing, and thank you for being such a good sport. But how do people get in touch with you?
I missed you. I just let you do whatever you want.
I miss you too, buddy.
Man, I'm okay with it.
Oh,
I'm okay with it. No, I'm always a good sport. Well, just like these guys don't work nights and weekends, I don't work Decembers, so you can't get in touch with me.
Don't work Decembers.
No, GeneVolpe.com or on Facebook.
Come on, do it, Gene.
GeneVolpe.com.
There it is.
There we go.
Oh.
All right. And Greg, you're coaching.
Yeah, guys, go to bookmcdaniel.com. So bookmcdaniel.com. I'll put the link here in the Facebook conversation. If you guys want to talk about doing one-on-one coaching, I am going to be also launching a 36 to Life with Hank Avix sometime in January.
That'll be great.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
That's the best.
I think we're going to put 36 people into the 36 to Life. It's a low cost, guys. I'll post about it in future episodes and on my page for more information. But there you get a metric fuck ton of content and value
Absolutely.
for what you pay. There's always more value in these coaching sessions than what you pay. Hands down, guaranteed. If you don't like it, we'll give you your money back. Seriously, and you go on your merry way.
Yeah.
But you won't. You will love it. And Amy can attest to that stuff.
Hey, Greg, I am a Hall of Famer, a 36 to Life Hall of Famer. One of two.
Nicely.
You have my friend Gail, and I'm the other one.
I know. I was with Hank when he announced Gail as the first Hall of Famer. So congratulations on spot 2. That's epic stuff right there.
Yeah, awesome.
If you guys want to do one-on-one, go to Book McDaniel. Book a 30-minute call. Do not book a 60-minute. It's $1,000 a month straight up. If you guys want one-on-one stuff, we can see if we're going to be a good fit. So book a 30-minute at Book McDaniel, and then book a just book Johnson. What do we get at Book Johnson, Matt?
Well, there's a couple of options there, but guys, if you're thinking about like some of the courses, or if you're curious about like, what coaches, if you just need like an impartial kind of third party opinion on what's out there and what might be the next best step for you, and you have some questions about some of the courses that you hear about on the show, or some of the coaches that we've featured on the show, or anything like that, you can feel free to book a 15-minute call with me. So that's at bookjohnson.com. I'm happy to kind of answer any questions you might have and steer you in the right direction. If you're curious about my opinions on Greg and all the things that he does wrong, I'm happy to share those as well. I have my Hobbit pad full and ready to go. You'll need a 60-minute call for that, so please book the 60-minute version. All right, that's all I've got. BookJohnson.com.
Oh, Lord. Okay, guys, the reason why we do the show is like we close out every single show saying this, is that we do this because we absolutely have a love affair with all of you agents out there, because we think that you guys are all unique, incredible, powerful people that are striving for their own goals and to live your life of your dreams. And so we decided to take away, those barriers that a lot of the times before podcasting, live video, and a lot of things were available. You had to pay tens of thousands of dollars for the coaching that you guys can get on the show. Matt and I have been doing this thing for almost 3 years. I think it's 3 years next month. So it's a lot of content, guys. A lot of great guests like Amy, like Gene, a laundry list of other folks. If you need a subject that's in your business that's plaguing you, go back and find one of our episodes. Go to our YouTube, go to our site, go to Facebook, go to wherever you guys want, and just start watching. And we're going to continue to do this. And if any of you want to give Matt and I both $50 million each net, we will be happy to podcast 5 days a week for you. Okay? Just saying, if there's any generous benefactors out there that have $100 million they just want to give away, Matt and I will take that begrudgingly, but we'll do it. But we absolutely love you guys, and we look forward to seeing you on the next podcast. And as always, guys, peace out, ninjas! We gone.